3, 2, 1.
Talk to me.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I get started, I want to say a big shout out to the TEDxBellsTech team. This has been really, really amazing. Let's give them a round of applause. They've done really, really well. Now, from my time as a student to my time as BUSA president, and now my time as an alumnus, TEDxBellsTech have done an outstanding job. Looking forward to my next session as a sponsor. Right, so when the team reached out to me to come speak on the theme, idiosyncrasy, I thought to myself, look, I'm not a founder, I'm not a CEO. I finished university in 2021. So I'm like, so how much information do I want to give out? What do I really want to speak about? But I thought deeply, and then I noticed that, yeah, there are many things we could touch upon. And the idea behind idiosyncrasy, being unique, being different, and making your path out of it. So I think I'll just get into it now. Do you mind putting up the slides? Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so my slides are up. So I'm what many people would describe as an efiko, or a bookworm, or those guys. I don't want to say Nsudoh because Nsudoh is too much. But then in school, I was a kid that if the teacher gives an assignment, I'm doing it right there. So if the teacher gives anything, I'm doing it right there, and then I always wanted to know more, to do more. And to be fair, I could trace that back to my childhood, right? My father was a war correspondent for Punch. He was an editor. He covered the wars in Senegal and the Gambia. So we used to have a lot of books, a lot of newspapers. There were too many things to read. And 9, 11, 10, I read so much and I knew so much. And I was ready to speak about so much. So I had a very wide capacity. And at a point in my life, I used to be, I don't want to say ashamed, but I used to hide it because I'd be like, let me not do too much. Let people not think I'm doing too much. Let me just stay in line and don't cause trouble because people, react differently to certain things. You can see my tweet up that I said 2 topics I hate seeing be discussed on here are gifted kid syndrome because I used to be ashamed of that. But I've grown to understand that that's not a flaw, that's a feature. And that we're all special in our own different ways. I have an image up there that shows the lonely star. Now, in your own different worlds, I want you to know that you're all different and you're all special. Right? So never let your light dim and be steadfast on what your goals and aspirations. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, so I think I'll just get into it now. I studied electrical engineering here in Bells, like most of you already know, finished in 2021. Normally, people that study electrical engineering go into, power companies, electrical companies, and things like that. But I wasn't really interested in it, In my 3rd year, the 6-month internship we normally do, my father got me a job at Ibom Power Generation Distribution Company. And we used to have lecturers come in, who would draw simulate designs, who do things. Don't get me wrong, I had no problems doing it, right? Because, again, gifted kid. But then, it wasn't what I wanted. And as much as I could do it, it didn't bring joy to me. So I thought deeply. And then electrical engineering is electrical and electronics engineering. So my next internship, I took it upon myself to say, no, I'm not going back to do anything related to power. Let me try out communications and networks. So from my own small room, I kept applying to different companies, anyone that would just take a chance on me. Look, I knew nothing about anything like this, but I wanted to make a difference. And I felt that I could do it. So why limit myself to what my parents want me to do or what somebody has advised me to do? Okay, because this path already exists, I need to do something different. So luckily for me, I don't want to mention the name of the company because, but then luckily for me, one company responded. And they were like, yeah, if you're going to come in on March the 2nd, we'll have an interview, and you could start the following week if it goes all well. Now, mind you, this was the COVID year, this is 2020. So many companies had already, stopped working. It was hard for people to get roles, hard for people to get internships. But then that didn't matter to me because I had set a goal and I was willing to go the extra mile to achieve it. Luckily for me, I got in, made a good impression, and the company hired me on the spot. So I started learning deeply about networks, engineering, cybersecurity as well. Now, this is a very big difference from what I was studying in school. So at that point, it was a lot, but then I didn't mind because, again, this is what I wanted to do, and I was passionate about it. Well, all things being equal, we had to go on quarantine, and then 2 months down the line, my dream internship stopped. Can you imagine? After fighting tooth and nail, disturbing my father, they say go home. But then, while at home, I kept studying. I started doing a lot of things. So after like 6 months, the company had said, okay, you know what, come back. We're back in office now. But then school had resumed, so I was like, oh, no, I can't come back, right? Because I need to go back to school. But the difference was that I had 2 options at that point. It was either I accepted the fact that, after fighting for my dream job, my dream internship, something happened and it was cut short, and I go back to electrical engineering, or I stayed steadfast and trained myself and get deeper understanding of the skills and anything related to network engineering and cybersecurity, which I did, and it helped me very well, right? So I came back to my final year with a clear vision of what I wanted to do after school. Now, I know that doesn't relate for every single person. Some of you are still, in that phase where you're thinking, do I really want to practice what I studied? I'm hoping to get something after school, maybe after NYC. All is fine. Everybody moves at their own pace, and I want to assure you, so that's fine. So I, straight after that, my final year project was an automated smart smoke sensor. So I was deeply interested in this thing, so I built it, and with not thinking anything about it, I posted it on my WhatsApp story. Somebody replied, and I was like, oh, look, you can build this thing. You understand how this thing works? I was like, yeah, sure. I've been reading about this for 2 years now. So it's simple. I did it. So we set up a virtual interview, and then I got a job on the spot. So I was still in my final year, straight after my defense. That was, I think, August 13th. But we graduated in November. So I had already started working. I already got a job while I was still in school. Because I knew I was different, and I stuck to what I thought was best for me. And I didn't let anything deter me. I worked at this company for 2 years, still trying to push my own goal in cybersecurity and everything. So when I felt that, okay, look, I needed to do something more, I left the company. Then I met somebody he spoke to me. He was like, oh, look, he's trying to deploy security solutions for government, and they need some skilled hands that understand this thing. But people that he meets probably are a bit lagged in one area. They don't really know how to specialize in many things. And I just spoke to him. I was like, yeah, I can do all that. We just kept talking and talking. So something that was supposed to be like a very quick meetup after church went up to 3 hours discussion. And then he was so impressed that he was like, look, if you come on Monday morning to the office, we'll get you around. You can start working. So luckily for me, I've never really had to struggle for jobs because I put in the work at the time where other people would have said, okay, no, you're doing so much now. Why are you doing so much now? These things just came naturally. So I met him, we discussed, I got the role. Now, this is me just leaving my former job thinking, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do next. In less than a week, I have another one. And with more pressure, and with more, everything on top of it. So I did quite well in that. We deployed some solutions, we trained government. I personally wrote the Akwa Ibom State government computer usage policy. And then that was like 2023, so I was a 23-year-old, right? But I wrote the computer usage policy that they use till today. And that has effectively changed the shape and the nature of governance at that level. Then, I got a job in security consulting, which has now broadened my scope. And then, the topic is not just about me. I'm just using my experiences to mirror and to show you that anything is possible, right? Because you start somewhere, and you don't think you're getting the expectations that you think you expected to get, doesn't mean that you need to stop, or doesn't mean that you feel downtrodden or disappointed, because there's always light at the end of the tunnel. I know most of us have heard that adage, I suppose. Yeah. So my last point there says, my path, tech, and policy built on purpose. It's a very simple. I leave with a very simple principle. The motto of Barawa College is Majada Wajada. That means he who strives succeeds. Now, I know people might come for me if I say this, but I'm not somebody that believes in luck and grace and, I mean, I appreciate the concept, but I believe that if you work hard towards something, and if it's something that you really want, granted, you might fail at your first try. You might fail at your second try. But the difference now is you know 2 ways that thing will not work. So you have a high probability of succeeding at your next try. I believe you agree with that. Next slide, please. Yeah. So politics from classroom to campus. So I really wanted to bring the story back home, right? So I'm going to be speaking a little bit on my tenure as president of the university. I know majority of those here might not have been there when I was a student, right? But yeah, so up there you can see my poster, and then me with a few people that you might know. Yeah, so what we did was that we came into school policy at a time where we didn't have a lot of time to do things. Remember, this was the COVID year. So normally the elections happen in June, but because of the scenario and because of everything happening in that year, the elections happen in December. So my guys were like, why do you want to stress yourself? That, come on, like you only have December, January, then you'll be out by May. So what is the need? What can you really do in that time? And I'm like, don't worry, I planned this for a very long time. And even if it's 1 week, give me. Even if it's just 1 week, bring it. We'll do things. Right? Guys, next slide, please. Yeah. So, it's normal as BUSA, you go on projects, events, some webinars, some seminars, all that. But one of the proudest things we did as ESCO was what you have right there on the slide. Now, in that, you see a mail between myself and the BPF chairman at the time. I don't know how many of us can recognize where that part of the school is. Does anybody know where that is? Where? I don't know if somebody can give somebody a mic or something. So, Nah, that's not sure, Pav. But just look at how that thing looks like. So we were like, nah, that can't happen. And at the time, we didn't have a lot of money. I know that we have a lot more students now, so I heard Busa is doing really well. But then we were short of funds, but we were not going to let that deter us. Because guys were like, why do you want to do too much? Just organize something small and then call it a day. You don't have time. I was like, no. We've seen something that we thought was vital, and then we were determined to make a difference. So I was looking everywhere for money. Normally, you're supposed to work within what you have as an ex-school. But then I was like, nah, we need to explore different options. So we reached out to the alumni, we reached out to BUPF, reached out to management, and that's not the normal order of things. Again, idiosyncrasy. You need to be different. So we thought, let's do something different. So I met the BPF chairman. He told me, David, I'm not really sure I can tell parents about that. We already have our plans. We already have what we want to use money. They want to buy some buses, they want to do some other thing. And I'm like, but look, this is something that people use every day, and it's entrance of the school. So we need to change the image. We met a guy. He gave us a quotation, an outrageous sum of money. And I was like, even if you multiply Busa's funds by 4, we don't have that money. So where are we going to get that money from? So luckily, on my third try, the chairman gave me some audience, and I engaged him. One of the halls just behind here. After one of the parents' forum, I was standing by the door. He didn't ask, we didn't have any appointment to, but I held him. I was like, look, we need to discuss it. He was like, okay, no problem, let's talk about it. So when I was done presenting, he was like, yes, we must do it. Again, idiosyncrasy. You need to be different. Don't let people say, oh, you're doing too much. Oh, you don't know, how are you going to achieve it? Let them watch. So I sent him the mail, sent him the design, sent him everything. He was standing before his people. They called me to defend it. I defended it. This is something that has never been done before, because that was not the natural order of things. But I said, no, we must get it done. And yeah, lo and behold, it was funded. We fixed a couple of things, which even led to further discussion. Now, I don't know how many of you were in school then, but the hall you're sitting in now took a very different shape. This setup was not here. Because of this discussion, we had a lot more discussions that brought up different changes in school, including the BUPF hall. It was inaugurated the same year as some of our sports facilities. Next slide, please. Yeah. So that's it for school. And I hope that touched a couple of minds. Now, going into my personal life now, since school, I've worked in a couple of places, done a couple of other things. But then I thought to myself that, look, I've been out of school for 3-4 years. And I would like to, further education, but I need to do something that's worthy of where I'm trying to get to. So I spoke to my couple of guys. I was like, look, man, I'm trying to do my master's. He was like, oh, just go to some school in the UK. He has an agent. And I'm like, no, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to go big because one of my favorite quotes is go big or go home. Go hard or go home. So see this tweet? This 2023. I said, 2023. It is my pleasure to announce to you that this year, I applied to 5 top schools, all in the top 25, 3 in the top 10, and I got admitted to all 5 of them. No rejection. I don't want to mention their names, but one of them is in the heart of Silicon Valley. Go and do your research. Right? So I'm like, and every school, I'll give you a scenario of one of them. This particular school, every international student that attends must do an interview for many reasons. 1, you need school in the US. 2, they need to understand, okay, how much you know. And okay, if it's possible, if you're someone that can acclimatize with the rest of the cohorts. And they are meet 50 to 60 every year. So I thought to myself, should I really go ahead with this thing? Can I really do this thing? But then one day I was like, so the deadline was 7th of January. By 6th of January, I hadn't gone anywhere in my application. I had already written my personal statement. I was like, look, is this personal statement good enough to get into the school? But then I thought, okay, do you know what? The worst that they can say is no. If they tell me no, I move on. But if they tell me yes, that's a big yes. So I put in my application. Guys, results normally come out the 3rd week of February. By the 2nd week of February, no response from them, no interview sets, no communication. I don't want to say I lost hope, but I was thinking myself, wow, lost opportunity. And I'm on Reddit as well, so we have many of the guys that apply from different places, Italy, Singapore, Indonesia. They were like, oh, look, they already got an interview date, so that they discussed already, that they're sure they're moving. And I'm like, I haven't gotten anything. So one fateful day, come back from work, I just got a call, +1. They're like, hello, David, how are you doing? We're pleased to let you know that, look, you got in here, we're pleased to meet you. And I was ecstatic. I was like, what? Straight? No need for interview. Again, idiosyncrasy. You need to aim to be different. Each and every one of you know that special trait you have. That you know that, look, if you work on this, you're one of one, you're top. Don't let anybody tell you. Don't let anybody tell you that no, you're not good enough. Don't let anybody tell you that no, you should be doing something else. Idiosyncrasy. Focus on that thing that makes you stand out and makes you different. Next slide, please. Yeah. So I think this is what I'll be concluding. But again, I want to make you know that because my story can come up very excellent. Oh, he has been doing really well all through life, no problems. That's not the truth. I've struggled, have my own personal struggles. Now, in my first, 2nd year, I was top. No, I was a first class guy, 4.9 CGPA. But then, one painful semester, I was very ill, and I didn't do too badly. A couple of Bs, but then in 3 of my 3 units courses, 3 units courses, straight Ds. D in 3 units courses, the rest Bs and A. And my CGPA dropped. No, it was so embarrassing that my HOD had to come and say, David, what happened? I was like, I was ill. I didn't really know what to do. And I didn't expect it. As somebody that has never really failed in life, I didn't expect to do that badly because I'm like, yeah, I do what I normally write. But the failure came and it stung. It was so embarrassing that I battled depression. And I'm not talking I feel sad. I'm like, the next semester when I went to exam hall, my hands would be shaking because I'll be thinking, what if I fail again? Will I fail again? Can I really do what I thought I could do? It was terrible. But then, you see the thing with life is, Whether you accept your situation or whether you work towards changing your situation, right, life goes on. Now, think to yourself, 2 years down the line, do you want to be that guy that worked on this trait he had and excelled? Or you just want to be the same guy that stays back and complains again for another 2 years? You still be where you still get to 2027. Where do you want to be in 2027? Simple question. So, another thing, so by my 400 level, I picked up myself, I gained more confidence, and I was excelling again. So my CGPA rose quite strongly. But that's by the way. So in 400 level, the presidency came. And you know one thing about the presidency, now you're now number one. So that brought another level of confidence that said, look, now it's more than academics. Now it's more than just going to the first class. Now I could do things that we haven't done before and excel at them. If I could come back from what happened to me in my second year, I can renege and I can come back on many things. Yeah. So my final statements today, and my final quotes today will be, look, idiosyncrasy is like dining with diamonds, still covered in dirt. The crowd would not see it, as a couple of my other speakers have addressed earlier. The crowd will not see it. But those that stay, dig, and believe would see these things. Now, those refer to each and every one of you. Deep inside each and every one of you, you know that special trait you have. You know, okay, look, I'm a very good singer, or I'm a great guy with fitness, or I can do this thing, or I can do that thing. Why are you letting anybody talk you down? Keep pushing. At some point, it will click, and when it clicks, it gets beautiful from there. Next slide. Okay. So I think that's it for me. So my final words will be, life is never a bed of roses. We all know that. But again, it is your own bed of roses, not mine. So do your best. Put your best effort in, and then all your dreams and aspirations will come true. Thank you, everyone.